my posse. Hi, all my new subscribers. Mwah. I love you. Thank you so much for joining my channel with my posse, and thanks for spending time with me today on this gloomy day. We just can't get any luck here with sun in Michigan. It's just, I think it's only 44 today or something. It's like ridiculous. But anyway, today I'm here to, my gal Wendy, My Life Wendy, she did a tag and it really triggered a lot of memories and a lot of things for me. So I thought I would pick this tag up from Wendy, which is, when it's all said and done, what do you want to be most remembered for? And you know, I thought about that and thought about it. And I go back to, it gave me time to reflect back on all the people that have touched me in my life and what I remember most about those people. What is it that brings those memories flooded back to me that I think about them? My mother, my dad, my great Uncle Pete, my brother-in-law, my just family members that were close to me. And what is the one thing that I carry with me? And if you're interested in that, stay tuned because we're going to talk about it. So yeah, so it just embodied me with feelings that I have, which I'm not gonna cry, because I think to myself, the one thing what I want to be remembered for is the same thing that I remember my family members for, breaking them down. You know, my dad was just this matriarch of the family, and Daddy did not, unfortunately, believe in spiritual beings or afterlife. And Daddy used to always just believe, like he'd say to us, you know, you make who you are on this earth. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. So make your first impression memorable and make it so people will remember that. Not necessarily how much money you had. And you know, that's so true because, you know, you could leave people $1 million and they could be nice to you. Like I had a friend who was like really nice. It's like an old story. She was like really nice to her aunt, I think. And she took her in, and because her aunt had all kinds of money, and she said, oh, you know, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you. And so she took her in, and she had, you know, all these ideas that, you know, she was going to inherit all this money. Well, when the aunt died, she had nothing. So, and you know, there's probably been a TV story about that, I'm sure, but this was true. This was her true story. She was so mad. So she didn't do it from the heart, obviously, but you know, people leave money and it's gone, and you don't really remember that because most likely it's something that's spent and it's not something that's cherished. And I think that my dad left a legacy of just a very caring person, a tough person. Oh my gosh, was he tough. True Italian, thick and thin. But he was so gentle, he was so warm, he was so caring, he was so giving. When I was divorced, he was like, he'd bring over food and fill my pantry. He knew I didn't have money. He was just a great person. And I take that, and Daddy used to say, what I leave behind is what you transfer to your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren, and I will live with them through you and what you say. And I think to myself, my grandchildren never knew my dad or my mother or my brother-in-law or my Uncle Pete, but my memories of them all, I have told my grandchildren. My kids have all known them, but my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, they don't know them. And so my stories that I tell them, they become alive, and they get just the biggest kick out of it. And it's down to like what I remember about my mom. Well, she was just, you know, this kind of funny person who just, she had her own way of thinking, and she had a lot of gas. So I pass that story on to my grandkids, and it's not that that's the only thing I remember of my mom, but there's stories that I tell my grandkids that are funny, and sometimes, you know, weird things are funny, and it's a memorable moment, and you pass them down. And you know, we joke about my mother's gas when she was older, and just joke about things, and my dad, and I share stories that I know my grandkids always go, tell me about Nana, tell me about Papa, you know, and we sit down and we'll talk about them and tell funny stories, and you know how, you know, we had crazy weddings, Italian weddings that were like, whoa, off the charts, and I tell them stories, and that I think is what stays with generations and generations and generations, if you can love somebody. And you know, there are people who don't have any memories, happy memories, sad memories to even think about. And I think I told you a story before in a video that when my dad passed away, my husband was like crying his eyes out, and my son came to me and said, why is Dad crying so much? And I go back to my husband and I said, what's the matter? And he goes, well, I think it's just a wonderful thing that everybody's crying here at your dad's funeral and nobody shed a tear over my dad. So that kind of says it all. And I think for myself, you know, number one, I want to be that memory that my grandkids remember, and that they'll pass it on to their kids. They'll say, oh my gosh, my Nana was crazy. She swore, she did this, she was a great cook. We had so much laughs. She played football with me and hurt her hip. You know, I mean, those kind of things that pass down into generations. And my grandchildren will probably tell their kids, oh, you know, you should have, I wish you would have known my grandma, she was this, she was that. And they'll tell stories to their kids, and their kids might pick it up. And each piece of us live in the next generation. Like, I'm a part of my grandkids. My grandkids' kids are going to be a part of me. Their kids are going to be a part of me. So we live in generations down. Maybe third, fourth generation will have my eyes, or you know, have my hair or my wigs. You never know. But you know, it's something that I want my grandkids, when they close their eyes and they think of me, they'll think of funny stories. They'll think of, you know, how I stubbed my toe and went berserk when playing hide and seek. Or, you know, they'll just have funny memories. And I think that's the way I want to go out. I want to go out as being a caring, happy individual. I want people to just know that I cared about them, I loved them, I was funny, I was compassionate, I was warm, I was giving, I was full of gas too, like my dad. But it's passed down, you know. My grandkids got the gene. What can I say? It's like, it is what it is. But that's what I want to be remembered for. Not my monetary gifts. Not, you know, oh, grandma or grandpa bought me. They bought me the car. They bought me. That's monetary. I want to be more remembered for who I am and what I gave to them in the way of encouragement. They could come to me for anything. I keep a secret well. Sorry, Gina, my daughter. I do keep a secret well. But I want to be that kind of a person to be to remember. And you know, I don't want them to say like, oh well, yeah, she was a hot tamale. My grandma, she wore puff sleeves and wigs till she was like 90. No, you'll know that, maybe, you know, I'll be that woman on YouTube. Remember her when she was like, you know, she was like on YouTube and she was like 90 and, you know, drooling out of the side, but she was like so fun and so, her skin was so great. You know, you can remember that. But yeah, I just want to be the best I can be for the next generation. And hopefully maybe someday I'll come back and show them a piece of me, maybe a spiritual piece somewhere along the line. But I think that I'll always live in the hearts of those who love me. And the ones that, you know, I haven't made an impact on, well, I'm, you know, sorry, but most of my life I think I have. I was that person who, when I worked in a place, they used to miss me, and I left an imprint on everybody that I worked for. And I remember people saying, well, we never could replace you. You know, you were like, you held the office down, or you were funny, or you were the, you know. And so I want to be that person who leaves a footprint on everybody's heart, and something to think about. And that, I wanted to pick up that tag because it did bring back many memories of the things that I remember most important. My brother-in-law was just an amazing person, and his singing was just sensational. So just bits and pieces of people that have touched your life that you remember. I want you to reflect a little bit today on that, and what you remember about somebody that left an impact on you and left a footprint on your heart that you remember, and maybe you could learn from that. And if you're not a nice person, which I know all of my subscribers are wonderful, but you know, there are people that you know that aren't so wonderful, maybe they could, you know, go into themselves a little bit and be a better person, and make somebody happy, and make somebody smile, and make somebody remembered. Because when you're gone, it's a terrible thing that nobody cares and that nobody remembers anything. So with that, remember, I'm going to repeat what my dad says: you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So make a first impression on this earth with the people that you love, the people that you care about, and even strangers. You know, you hear stories all the time about people doing wonderful things for strangers. So do something wonderful for somebody else, and it'll make you feel good. And hey, maybe, you know, 5-10 years from now, they'll be telling their kids, hey, I met this person who paid for my food, or, you know, this person was so nice, you know. And that's important. That's what keeps the generation and the good things of this world rolling, and keeps us above board, and keeps us happy, and keeps us part of God's, you know, umbrella. So with that, thanks, Wendy. I did enjoy that tag today, and it touched my heart, because I did reflect on what was most important to me. So with that, I am going to go, and I will talk to you in a couple of days. Yeah, I've got some makeup, moisturizer things, and different things I'm going to talk about. So with that, I hope I leave you with a smile, and I hope that you enjoy me, and I hope that you think about me tonight when you're sleeping. I don't want to come to you in a nightmare, but anyway, God bless you all. I love you. See you soon. Take care. Over and out.